Okay, great. Hello, everyone. So the first thing I like to do at these kinds of talks is ask everyone to turn on their video camera if they're in a position to do so. That way, when I speak with you, I'm looking at faces and I can remember you if I meet you one day. And if you can't, I understand. What's up, Max? So I might know some of you in here, and I'm looking forward to get to know those who I don't. Okay, so I'll start off with my name, and then we're going to move into kind of doing a popcorn. So I'm going to start, and then I'm going to pick someone, and they're going to repeat what I did, but with their own information. So it's going to be name, and then I want to do year, because I don't know most of you, so I need to know this. Year at UCSD, so like junior, senior, super senior, and I want your major and your career goal. So my name is Cheyenne Mercer. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And I went to UCSD 2016 until 2019. And then I did a master's there, and now I'm doing my medical school here as well. And for my career goal, physician, specialty, unsure, and that's pretty normal at this stage. So I will pass it off to Cindy.
Hi everyone. So that was Cheyenne. She went to UCSD from
Oh,
20.
sorry. Let me stop you there. You don't have to repeat what word for word what I said. I
Oh,
want to
sorry,
know
what?
about
I
you.
can't hear you. I don't know why.
I'll type it.
I'm sorry, but so she went to UCSD from 2016 2019. She is a physician. She goes to the medical school or School of Medicine at UCSD, and she's not sure what her specialty is. I am a human biology major. I'm a junior at UCSD, and my career goals in the future is to be a physician assistant. And I'll pass it off to Ali.
Hey everyone, my name is Ali. I am a senior at UCSD. My major is also it's just general biology. My career goal is to be a physician as well, and I'm not sure what I want to do either. I'm gonna go ahead and popcorn Samantha.
Hey y'all. Sorry. Hey y'all. My name is Simana Vallejos Nunez. I am a fourth year general bio major, and where did we say? Oh, sorry. And then also my future goals or career plans. I really want to be an anesthesiologist. At least that's what I think right now. I know there's like a lot of uncertainty once you get into med school from a few med students that I've talked to, but for now, that's what I'm sticking with. I'm gonna popcorn Jasmine.
Thank you, Samantha. Hi, y'all. My name is Jasmine. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I am a fourth year undergrad molecular bio student at UCSD. I also want to go to medical school. For specialty, like Samantha, there is like room to change my mind, I guess, but currently I really want to be a dermatologist. But we'll see. I'm going to pass it on to Miss Nkechi.
Hey everyone, my name is Nkechi. I am a junior, I guess, but also first year transfer. And then my career goal is to also be a physician. I don't really know what I want. I used to know before the summer, but I changed my mind. So I don't really know now, but I'm sure I'll make it up sooner or later. And I will popcorn it to Sweet Soul. She's still here. Oh no, she's not here anymore. My bad. I will popcorn it to Yalia. Yalila?
Hi, yes, it's Yalila. You're good. Sorry I can't turn on my camera. Like the background is just too many distractions, so I'm so sorry for that.
That's
But
okay.
yes, my name is Yalila. I'm a senior this year. My major is human biology, and my goal would be to be a physician, and I'm between either OBGYN or like dermatology, just because I have like experience with like both, and they're just really interesting. So I'm just like whatever God wants to put me in. But yeah, And then I'll popcorn to Max.
Hi everyone, my name is Max. I'm a first year transfer student at UCSD. I'm in near college and I'm a human biology major, and my career goal is to become an ophthalmologist. And who has it? Well, I guess I'll pick Jocelyn.
Oh, it looks like her mic and camera aren't working.
Max, why don't you pick someone else? Oh, she's writing in the chat right now. Her name's Jocelyn, third-year transfer, and she also wants to be a doctor. That's pretty cool.
I think Suburb hasn't gone yet.
And she wants to pass it on to Suburb.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Suber. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm a third year transfer student. I'm a neurobio major, and I would like to somehow combine Eastern and Western medicine. I fell in love with acupuncture, so I want to do that. But then I think I also might want to do 4 years of med school and then go to acupuncture school afterwards. So yeah. I think, is Ryan the only one that hasn't gone? I'll pass it.
I mean, I had a whole intro slide though,
That's
you know?
true. That's true.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anna? I still want to hear it. Ryan.
All right. Well, I'm a third year and I'm a transfer student. I'm a biochemistry major. And I'm interested in medical school. As far as what I want to do when I get in medical school, right now I'm interested in oncology or psychiatry. But of course that can change and most likely will. And I'm kind of interested in going into perhaps policy or politics post MD, and kind of try to enter the global stage in some way. That'd be interesting for me, but yeah.
And then Ryan, you can pick from Annie and Samir. They're the last two that haven't gone yet.
Gotcha. All right, Samir, go for it.
Wait, I just connected. I totally forgot the question. What was the question?
Who are you? What's your major? What do you want to?
I see. Okay. Well, my name is Samir, and I'm majoring in cognitive science with a specialization in machine learning, and I'm minoring in electrical engineering as well. And I'm a continuing second-year transfer. Is that sufficient?
Yeah, and then you just, I guess Annie is the last one to go. So.
Yeah. Hi. Can you guys? I'm outside, so I don't have my camera on. It's a little busy. My name's Annie. I am a marine biology major with a minor in general biology. I'm a first-year transfer in Revelle College, and my career goals are hopefully to get into a bunch of research. Thank you. My dog is cute. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Also, Annie, about your dog. Is it a golden doodle?
She's actually a cockapoo.
Oh,
so she's tiny. That's actually a mini pillow.
Oh,
yeah.
Got it. Okay, so thank you. So how we'll move forward here is I'll go kind of into my story, and I was debating how far back I want to go. Because I mean, we're talking years here. I can go back to elementary, but I don't think I will. So I'll start with kind of the big takeaway with my family. And I like to be really honest about where I come from. So if any of you can relate to that or have anything you might want to bring up or talk about later on with me or privately, I'm okay with that. So I come from a divorced family. My parents divorced when I was in elementary school, and it was pretty rough on me. And I have a sister and a stepbrother and a stepsister as well, who are older than me. My biological sister is younger, and she's at UCSD, and this is her first year as a transfer student. So very happy for her. And I think her major is ecology and behavior. I don't remember. So I went into high school not really having much guidance. My parents didn't really know what came after high school. They basically were like, get a job, maybe move out. They both never went to college, so I'm a first generation college student myself. And I mostly lived with my dad, who worked full time. And he was until COVID, he got laid off basically, but he was a car parts salesman. So he ran a store for car parts. And my mom has been a bus driver my whole life. So both of them have been doing this job for over 30 years, and they never went to college. So they couldn't really help me with that. And that's not really their fault. But I didn't have that guidance you would see normally with parents who did go to college, or at least part of college, right? So I remember in high school, I went to a counselor, and she wasn't the nicest person I ever met, but that was like something everyone knew in my class in high school. And I remember going to her and telling her I want to go to med school, and kind of like letting her know my ambitions. I want to go to UCSD, maybe Berkeley. And she's just telling me, no, you're never going to get in. Not with your grades, basically. Because I was like an average student. I've never actually been spectacular at sports, never really spectacular at grades. I played basketball a little bit, and that was about it. There was nothing exceptional about anything I did in high school that made me really stand out, in my opinion. But I think that has a lot to do with, the neighborhood I grew up in. And if you look up area codes, you can really see what resources are lacking in certain areas. And I went to a high school that was really underfunded. And I remember getting to school, I would have to take the bus at 6 a.m. And I would have to take 2 buses to get to school. I'd finally get there by 7, and I'd have to meet with my calc professor for AP Calc, who only gave me about 20 minutes of tutoring, like twice a week. And because of that, those AP classes were so hard for me to do, because the help I wanted wasn't there. There wasn't really tutoring, and I had to get up so early just to take a bus to school and take a bus home. And when I entered high school, I was between ages 14 and 17 in high school. So I'm like young and dumb, and I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't have people telling me exactly what to do. So, based on my experiences there, I decided, well, I'm never going to get into big name colleges like I wanted. I did apply for SDSU as a zoology major. I loved animals, so I was like, zoology, and I got in, but something felt so wrong about that. And I was really happy, but I was like, I don't even have the money. I didn't understand what FAFSA was even at that time. No one really told me. So I didn't apply. I had nothing, basically. I got in, and then I didn't know what to do. So I said no, and I went to Mesa. So I started at Mesa College in 2012, and I lived up the street, so I just walked to school. It was like the best thing ever, because parking there sucks. So I would walk to school, and being there, I was there for like 4 years. So when you're advertised as, community college, and all of you would know this, or not all of you, but anyone who went to a community college would know that sometimes that 2-year mark is really not what happens, because of the trying to get into a class that you can't get into because too many people are in it now, or they're not offering it that semester. And that's what happened to me, basically. And I took a lot of classes I didn't really need. And that was really frustrating to me. So at my second year, I was like, I am going to transfer. This is the year. And it didn't happen. And I was really sidetracked by relationships at the same time. And I remember I was almost about to move to Oregon for the person I was dating at the time, to a college I didn't really know what I was going to do there. I was really up in the air. I had no flow. I was just going through it. My GPA at that time was a 3.4, I think. Again, not great. I mean, 3.4 is good, but it's not like spectacular. It could be better. And then this is where I heard about the program, University Link Medical Science Program, which Max and Akechi were in this past summer. So for the University Link Medical Science Program, I remember I was in my bio lab class and I was throwing some trash in the trash can, and right above this trash can and in between like a light switch was this expired advertisement for this summer program. And I was like, huh. And I remember just like, I don't know if I took the paper or took a picture, but something about that paper stuck with me. And it's ironic, it was like above a trash can. And, you know, to me symbolically, like, oh, go in the trash, doesn't matter. Or, you know, the light switch was above it, like turn it on, I could do this kind of thing. I don't know, there was something weird about that moment. So I took a picture of the paper. And I ended up applying for the program and I got in. So University Link Medical Science Program is a summer bridge program funded by the Healthcare Opportunities Program, so HCOP. And basically what they do is they look for students who come from disadvantaged or underserved backgrounds. And for me, I'm one of those students. I am a first generation college student, and also I come from a financially disadvantaged background, educationally disadvantaged background. So I was able to get into this program. I was one of 9 people accepted. At the time, I think over 50 people applied. So it's very fairly competitive program. And I think maximum they would only ever take 12 or 15 people. So I got to live on UCSD campus for a whole month with these students. And it was my first time ever being on campus, and my first time kind of feeling like, maybe I can do this, maybe I can make it. And this program introduced to me all of these medical students. I got to tour the campus over and over again. I mean, we walked that thing every day. And I got to tour the med school, and I met so many doctors. Every day I met maybe 5 or 6, I don't know, maybe 4. I met doctors every single day of this program, basically. And that was my first time in my life I had ever met a physician that wasn't my primary care physician. So that's kind of a big deal. Like, if you think about your experiences, someone will ask you, especially if you are trying to apply for med school and you have an interview, someone might ask you, when was that pivotal moment you knew you wanted to go into medicine? For me, it was this program, because it was always in the back of my head, like, oh, this is something I might want to do, maybe veterinary, maybe not, I don't know. But when I met these physicians who weren't my primary care physician, who spoke to me about where they've come from, what they're doing, and being in med school and then being in their specialty, I was just so inspired by it. And I saw myself in these people. And that's what kind of gave me that push, like, okay, I know what I need to do now. So this program also helped me develop these skills for what to expect with the MCAT based on what other med students have told me in the program, what to expect with transferring, how to transfer, how to get into UCSD. So after that program ended, I applied for UCSD. I was actually at a scholarship award assembly. I was getting my scholarship. My parents couldn't come. It was just me alone at a table. And I got an email saying I got into UCSD as I got my, after I got my scholarship, and I called my mom and I was like, oh my God, I'm like in the lobby going, I got in, this is insane. And she's like, I'm coming to the award assembly. So she stopped everything, came over, and it was a crazy moment. It was amazing. I'll never forget it. So I got into UCSD as a biochem cell bio major, which is now I think just Molec Bio. And I was at UCSD for 3 years, and I could have left in 2, but I did something really specific with my time. I knew that I wanted to do some research, and to get into medical school, you really have to hit a lot of goals. You have to have leadership, you have to have community service, volunteering, really good grades, MCAT, like there's just so many things that you have to have. So I was kind of like struggling with that, adapting to that new thing I needed to do, because in community college, you're not really trained about how to balance all of that at once. And research isn't something that they push on you, like maybe freshmen at a university might have, especially UCSD, because it's a very research intensive place. So the 4 years I was at Mesa, I did botany research for an honors program. I literally sat there and like watched radishes grow. And then ironically at the end, I ate them all because I was like, F this, I'm done. I got an A in the class. So that was the only research I ever had. Could I get into med school with that? No, flat out, no, I couldn't. How do I relate that to life, like with patients? Maybe if I stretched that experience, I could. But I knew I needed to do something, and learning from UMSP, what I had to do was I needed to find research. I was running out of time because my first year at UCSD already passed, and I had a rough go my second quarter there. My first quarter, I did really well, got all A's, but then I was so dumb and I took metabolic physics. Oh, by the way, I was in physics 2A. Who does that? I don't know. I was like, I got A's in calc. I'll do great in physics 2A, the engineering version. Got in, I got an A the first time, but then when I did the second class, I was like, oh no, this is not good. So I took physics lab, metabolic, physiology, and I think sociology 70. It was a nightmare. I don't know how I was doing it. I barely made it out alive. And I knew something was going wrong, and I spent all this time on just coursework. I had nothing else going on. I was sort of volunteering in an org my friends and I started, which I'll talk about. But I knew I needed to do more, especially to get into med school. So let me talk about that org now. The org that I started with my friends was called Homeless Heal, and it's still active right now. Homeless Health and Empowerment Across Learning. And what we've done is train students, who we call student educators, to be leaders and teachers for communities who are underserved, mainly homeless and underserved populations in San Diego specifically, because we have a large homeless population here. And what these students do is they teach courses at different shelters, and they're science-based courses. And so I was a founding member of the program, and I was executive director for about 2 to 3 years, 2.5 years. And just recently passed on my position to someone since I graduated. But that was my chance for leadership. So I already had that checked off. I was like, okay, I'm volunteering and I have this leadership opportunity. I'm not really worried about that, but research was my biggest concern. So all of you being in this org right now is like kind of a big deal. I don't want you to minimize being in this, because there is quite a lot of potential for an org that caters to transfer students in science. There's so much students can do. And I know a lot of you mentioned, going into med school, but this org can mean a lot to someone who maybe doesn't want to do medicine and wants to do any kind of science, engineering, math, whatever you say. And you guys are here to help develop community and almost guide students who need that, right? And that's leadership right there. And going into the org, and say you have a leadership position, or you can somehow move up in a way or join another org and do that, that's your way of saying to med school, I am a part of a community that I care about. And this is something, if you ask me about it, I can talk and talk and talk about it because I'm passionate. I'm not just doing it because someone told me to check a box. So Homeless Heal was that for me. I've had a lot of experience in my life. Not personally being homeless, but interacting with people who are homeless because of a church I went to for a while. And also someone who I met named Jake, who I used to drive to my work every day. He would stand on the corner near my house, and he wanted to go to this new corner by Fashion Valley Mall to make more money. And he didn't know how to get down there. And so every day when I would work at Fashion Valley, I'd pick him up and drive him down to his corner so he could go make money. So him and I got really close, and that kind of was like my, whoop, okay, I have a passion here for this, for working with this population of people. Okay, so what I want to talk about is research. My second year, I should have graduated, but I didn't have any research experience, nothing. And I was really picky about what I wanted to do, because I didn't want to be in a wet lab where I just pipetted things or washed dishes. And that's really common for undergrads, unless you kind of have an in with someone or you worked your way up. And I've had none of that experience. I couldn't just enter something and be like, give me the project, make me write a paper, I'm ready. And there was a lot of imposter syndrome too, because I just felt I didn't belong in a lab, and I didn't really belong there doing that. And I didn't know how to write yet. I had none of those skills, built none of it. So I knew I had a passion for myself being a transfer student, and I knew I could help other transfer students. And I was also a tutor for like 4 years at Mesa College as well. So mentorship is something that's really, I don't know, easy for me. And I think it's something I really like to do. so I wanted to understand more about that. And I looked for research that was specifically in transfer science, something like that. And I found a lab at UCSD called is Dr. Stanley Lowe Lab. And there's a few people who run different labs like him in the education department at UCSD. And because I was a bio student as well, they had a bioeducation research department. And I thought, like, this is just perfect. I should do something with this research. Maybe after I graduate, I can join this guy's lab and, you know, do that as my gap year. Well, turns out I still had a year left of financial aid, and they told me that if I stayed at UCSD for one more year, my financial aid would cover the first half of the master's program that they have called the BSMS program. So if any of you have heard of it, nice. And if you haven't, this is like a pretty good place to take a mental note. The BSMS program is a joint program between being a bachelor, or sorry, during your undergrad and then the master's year. It's 2 years long. So if you're getting funded in any way, you can take the first year of that program in your undergrad. So I was like, I am going to take the first year of my master's in my undergrad. So that's why I did the extra year at UCSD. My financial aid funded it, and I was able to stay and just focus on doing that master's. I wrote a lot of papers about, actually, I'll tell you what I did in the lab to begin with. Okay, so Dr. Stanley Lowe is this education researcher, and I remember I sent him a cold email. So if anyone's curious how to get a research position, honestly, it starts with a really easy email that a lot of people overthink, I think. And I sent something like, hi, my name is Cheyenne. I'm interested in doing the master's program and I like your work and I want to know more about it. Can we meet for coffee? And he was like, yeah, take me out for coffee with your voucher that you get from your colleges. And I was like, cool. So I did that, you know, pre-COVID, and took him out. I got all dressed up. I was like, I am ready to be professional. And I show up at the coffee shop on campus, the one in, what's the best one? The one everyone says is great. Oh gosh, I can't remember. It's across from
Muir?
Huh?
Is it Muir?
It's near Muir. No, it's not Muir. It's across from Soda and Swine. Art of Espresso. I saw Jasmine go. Okay, so I met him at Art of Espresso and I got all dressed up and he showed up in like a hoodie and jeans. I was like, oh no, this is already not matching. And I basically, to prepare, I read some, like 2 of his papers, read up about where he went for school, know he did some Stanford stuff and was Canadian, blah, blah, blah. So we just kicked it off really well. And I told him very vaguely, I like transfer stuff and I like science. What do you have? And he had a perfect project for me to start on, which was researching how transfer students in science, are identifying with themselves about their experiences in science. So my research was going through transcripts of interviews we had with tons of students, like over, I think we had 60 one year and then like 20 or something the next year. But I go through these transcripts asking them questions about how they felt about who they were and the experiences they had. And I had to learn how to code, basically, qualitatively code for this research position, which wasn't that hard to do, but I had a lot of support in the lab. And so basically all of this time doing research was my way of checking sort of that box for med school, but doing something that I really enjoyed. So I was really able to relate like my passions for mentorship and helping others in underserved communities because of my research. So all of these students that I had to learn about in their transcripts were all students from mostly underrepresented backgrounds who were really passionate about a career in science and had transferred to UCSD specifically. So I identified with that population heavily, and it was so easy for me to talk about this. Okay, so I did my master's, ended in my 3rd year at UCSD, and then started my 2nd year, which was the master's portion, and that you have to pay for. It's about $6,000 a quarter. But I applied for fellowships and I got a TA position for 2 of the quarters, and then I got a fellowship for the 3rd quarter. So actually I paid nothing at the end. It worked out really well, and all of you have that capability of doing that. It's totally possible. And also you can do TRELS, which is summer research. as well to get paid and just continue your research as an undergrad. So during that time, in my undergrad and doing research at the same time, this third year of UCSD, I was like, oh, perfect time to do the MCAT. I am like totally busy with 100 things and this is the best timing. And so I studied for the MCAT at the same time. God knows why, I don't know. And I thought I totally could nail it. And I was also working at the library part-time too. I was mentoring students at my old high school who wanted to go into science or medicine. And I was also running this org basically like full time. I was juggling way too much. And I studied for the MCAT not well. And I changed my test date to another day, but it was only in Nevada. So I flew to Nevada, spent that money because, you know, I committed. And I should have known by all those bad omens leading up and how busy and like crying all the time that it just wasn't a good idea. And I still went, and my best friend came with me, and best friend Nevada, no, best friend Las Vegas. We're together in Las Vegas. What? Okay, no. So I was there. I was really good up to the day of the MCAT. And I woke up, we had breakfast, and I was waiting for our Uber to get to my MCAT. And I got food poisoning that morning of my MCAT because I was in a place where I was eating food that like you're not used to. And I realized, you know, with MCAT, you really have to plan that stuff out. Like, what are you gonna eat for breakfast? How soon do you actually need to use the bathroom before your test starts? And what are you gonna eat for lunch during your break or snacks during your breaks? Like, you have to plan everything for this test. So much is on you. It's like 8 hours long. So I was like food poisoning. I'm still going. And I went to take my MCAT and it was a nightmare. It was so bad. I got a 495, which is like, you're not going to really get into a lot of programs with a 495. Maybe if you do DO, but that's still like scraping the bottom of the barrel. So I was like, yeah, I have to retake it. It was a horrible feeling. So I went through Passport Admissions, which was a program to help me, but you have to pay for it. But I got a scholarship, so I was able to do that. And they helped me kind of plan my application for med school and helped me write it and stuff like that. And got a lot of mentorship through them. And I did like Princeton Review, I think, classes for my second MCAT, and I don't like it, honestly. I wasted so much money. I basically used my savings for that, and I wish I hadn't because it's so strict with the schedule and I just couldn't keep up with what they wanted and basically lost money. And my score went up to a 503 the second time I took it. Again, that's not that great. I mean, I have to be honest with you, like the MCAT is getting more and more competitive every year. And although this year there's some, you know, with COVID, students don't technically need to apply with the MCAT. At some point they should have it, right? But there's schools like UCLA where they have a cutoff now. Or if you're not over like a 510, I think, or a 512, they don't even look at you anymore. So I knew 503 wasn't really great. And I thought, okay, well, I need to apply because I don't want to take it again. And I feel like all these areas in my life are so strong. So I applied for med school anyways. I just bit the bullet. I was like, I'm going to do it. So I applied. I did about 37 schools. And or 37. Yeah, I want to say it was about 30. So I did half DO and half MD. And that was a very strategic thing for me because DO programs are awesome too. And I knew that, you know, either way I would be a physician and I would still get a great job. I also applied for the military, for the Navy and the Army, and I got both scholarships. And that's a huge process. Don't undermine that process. And I don't want to go into it all right now, but if you want to talk to me more about it, I totally will. But it was like long. At the end of the day, I got 4 interviews. I got 2 DO, 2 MD. So my first interview was a DO program in Florida called Nova Southeastern. And then I had an interview at the military medical school in Maryland, interview with the prime program at UCSD, and then an interview with another DO program in Nevada called Toro. And I got rejected from Toro flat out, and I knew it was bad. My interview was not good, and I felt it, and I knew it, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get an R from there. I got into Nova, which was awesome. My first interview, first acceptance. I got waitlisted at Maryland because it's military school, so their background check is like pristine. So if there's anything that they're worried about for any reason, I don't have like a criminal record, if that's what you're wondering. But if there's any discrepancies, they have to go through everything. And that took a lot of time on my part. So I was waitlisted for a while there. And then I got waitlisted at UCSD for the Prime program. Well, over the summer, I still only got in Nova, and I'm going to wrap up here in like 3 minutes. I only got into Nova. UCSD was looking real grim. I was still waitlisted, and I was just thinking, yeah, this probably isn't going to happen. And then I got a phone call that was really interesting, and I thought it was a joke. I didn't understand that this program was real. And it's called the CAPS program at UCSD, Conditional Acceptance Post-Baccalaureate Program. And the director of the program, who I met through University Link Medical Science program like 5 years prior and worked with her over the summer as well. I didn't even know she ran the program. And she called me saying, we think you're an exceptional student. We're really, impressed with where you've come from and what you want to do. And we think you'd make a lovely addition at UCSD. Would you want to interview for this program? And just so you know the weight of this, the program only picks 5 people out of 700 something applicants who were not chosen for UCSD. 5 out of that many people. So that's very competitive. And thank you. And so I was like, this is what? So I interviewed for the program. During the time I was working with Max and Nkechi over the summer, which is really funny. And I got in, and it was just incredible. I got into the program, and basically what CAPS is 1 year before you start med school. So I had a gap year already, but now I had to take a second kind of gap year doing this post-bac, and that's what I'm in right now. So what I'm doing is taking courses, and right now I'm only in one course, endocrinology, and you're taking them with undergrads mostly, and maybe some other post-bacs and other programs. And then next quarter I have to take 3 sciences, and then in winter I take 1 more science course. And they give you a list of what to choose from, which most of them I already did because I was a biochem major. So they were like, yeah, you pretty much got all of them done, but pick the ones you haven't done. And so endocrinology is one of them. And the other class we have is like a strategy class for succeeding in med school. And basically the students and I in this program, the 5 of us, what we have in common is being from underrepresented backgrounds and having some kind of educational disadvantage. So the program saw in me when I interviewed that during UCSD med school interview and the interview I did with them for CAP is I didn't have that guidance flat out. Like my parents didn't go to school, right? And I was working part-time, 2 jobs, up to 3 jobs every quarter. And I was also volunteering for 2 different orgs every quarter, taking full-time course load, research. I was just doing so much. I never had a chance to really be the applicant I knew I could be. And they knew that in the right environment, I could succeed. And I'm proving that to them right now by like doing really well in this endocrinology class. And part of this program is you can't have a job. So I had to quit my jobs and you have to be volunteering 4 hours a week. It's really not that bad. 4 hours a week, taking the classes you want, and have like a GPA, I think of 3.5 or higher, which is where I'm like, oh, okay. But I think it's totally doable now that I don't have to work. And so if you satisfy the requirements, which are have that GPA cut off and do those volunteering hours, you are accepted to UCSD School of Medicine flat out. Basically, you're already accepted. No one's ever dropped the program. There's only one person that left, and that's because they didn't want to be a doctor anymore. So no one's ever actually dropped out of the program because they couldn't do it. And the person who did leave because they didn't want to be a doctor, they actually got into the School of Medicine anyways, like they satisfied the program. But they basically, sorry, oh my gosh, all the notifications are going off. Okay. So they basically will accept you after this program, and you start med school with all the students in fall 2021. So that's when I will officially be taking med school coursework. And during this year, I'm participating in anything like the med students do. So so I'm doing a lot of like Zoom meetings and equity, diversity courses, or not courses, but like meetings with physicians who are presenting. And honestly, this experience kind of changed my life. UMSP changed my life, kind of set me on that path towards medicine. And then CAPS gave me the opportunity to actually be like, oh my gosh, I'm in, I can do it. So UCSD was my first choice med school, basically since high school. And to be able to be here today and talk to people about, doing this and getting in, it's kind of like, wow, it's weird. It's kind of hard to believe. And I do want to put a clause in here though, that I wouldn't see if any of you were like, oh, I can do the CAP program then. Don't think of it like that, because it's not something that's just handed to a ton of people, right? It's 5 people. And I would bank put your money more on like trying to do well to have as many interviews as you can and getting into schools that way, because these post-bac programs are really unique, but they don't offer opportunity to a ton of people, right? So if you got into this program in the future, congrats, I'd be so happy for you. And I'm really excited to see where all of you end up. And I want to stop here because I should give you about 10 minutes for questions. So I will stop here. God, I talked so long. That was like crazy.
Thank you so much, Cheyenne. That was great.
Yeah, thank you so much, Cheyenne.
I don't know about y'all, but that was like inspiring. My whole day feels like I'm like ready to kill it, My video is gonna turn off here because I have to open my notes to have my like questions. But I just want to like get like one or two questions in here to get us started. But first of all, like, come on, man. In Nevada, they're always getting in the way. Am I right, guys? Election. Yeah. Anyways, I'm interested in. Well, first of all, actually, I want to say, it sounds like you're I would be super stressed if I was in your position. So I've got to commend you for I don't know, like doing what you're doing right now. It sounds like you're under a lot of pressure to prove yourself right now with this program. So I want to commend you on that. And I'm kind of interested if you could give a quick overview of like what the military scholarship application was like in short, just because I've kind of heard about that path before, but I don't know anything about it, like any details. If someone were to ask me about it, I couldn't really tell them much.
Yeah, great question. So a lot of people don't know they can actually apply for the military before med school. And it's called the HTCC scholarship. And there's a few different ones out there. I think there's 3 total floating around, but you can apply for Air Force. You can apply for the major 3 branches. And then there's a 4th branch called the Indian Health Services. So you can apply for them too. So there's 4 branches, Army, Navy, Air Force, IHS. So what happens is when you join, or first you have to find a recruiter, and then you talk to the recruiter, and they're a med school recruiter specifically, and they help you with all this documentation. But oh my gosh, it's document after document after document that you're filling out. And this, I think I was doing it for like 3 months. I was like filling out new documents and big background checks. And I had to go to the Marine base like twice just to do this for a physical, because you have to get a physical by a military person. You also have to do 2 to 3 interviews with military doctors as well. And they have to basically give you a score out of like 0 to 10 about how they liked you, basically. But it depends on the branch. That's what's crazy. So Navy, so I've heard Navy is like that middle ground. Army, they accept more people because they have more funds. It's all about money too at the end. Navy's middle, IHS, I think it depends. And the Air Force is the hardest one to get into. And a lot of people don't get in because of health stuff, because you have to be really tip-top shape. And they, I guess from what I heard, why I didn't apply is they want people with like the highest GPAs, the highest of everything. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to deal with more paperwork. So I just like, I'm not going to join. Although being in a plane would be cool. But I also learned in Navy, you could be in a plane too, as a, I forget the term of it, but you can do like primary care for pilots in a plane. And it's really, really cool. So I was like, yeah, I totally want to do that. And also with the Navy there's a thing called GMO. So it's a tour that you do after medical school, and you aren't paid, you're not in residency either. And you have this requirement when you join the military for medical school is they'll pay for the entire medical school. So all your costs are completely covered. And that was the point for me. I was like, my family came from a military background as well. My grandparents, not my parents, and I can pay homage to them and also have my med school paid for. This is a great idea. And the thing is, yeah, med school is free now, but you're paying with your time. There's always a transaction when you make these choices, and you have to be very wary about what you're giving up with that. And what you're truly giving up is 7 years, I think, after that. 4 to 7. I get it so mixed up now. And you are giving them the time that they paid for you. And that would mean that they kind of own you too, and you can't choose where you want to live. So that really bothered me, but I was like willing to make that sacrifice. I knew what I was getting into, and I was like, okay, I might have to literally be on a boat for 4 years, somewhere I don't know in another country, because the Navy, their main goal is to go to, they don't really do home stuff. They go out on their ships, like the Mercy, and they go out and give care to our ally nations and are kind of there for disaster relief and stuff. The Army is really never deployed, and we don't have like a big war going on that we're involved in right now. So say like during the Iraq war, during then you would see a lot of physicians in the Army out in the field, right? But really they're not where the firing line is. They're way out somewhere else where they're safe and can give care to people. And right now, since nothing was really happening, it wasn't going to be like this action-filled thing I'd probably get into unless a war started. So I was like, okay, I'm probably either one for Army, going to be in a hospital somewhere here in the US, or in a fort something, and that would probably be the Midwest states. So you have to look up where the Army would position you to. So Navy, you're by the coast, come on, we're on boats, so you're by the coast. And then Army, you're usually in the middle of the Midwest. So I was like, okay, those are my options. I applied for them, and I got both scholarships, but decided to turn them, I had to turn them down because I don't start med school for a year now. So they're void now. All that work was pretty much for nothing. And I'm probably not going to do it again. So yeah, that's kind of the gist about these scholarships you can apply for. But if you don't decide to do those scholarships for the military right now, you can actually apply for them during med school. So say halfway through med school, you're like, oh my God, I don't want to pay anymore. And I have this passion for the Navy now. You can apply then and get the scholarship for 2 years of med school, and you'll owe them, I think, equivalent time. So it's pretty flexible. And you can join after med school as a physician, and you get a bonus of like 100 to 200,000. I don't know, some crazy number. Oh, also when you get the HTC scholarship during, or HPSP, sorry, that's the name, HPSP. There's another one too. HPSP, write that down. When you get the scholarship, you get a $20,000 signing bonus too. So there's pretty good incentive for why some people want to join the military, I think. But also remember the sacrifice you'd have to take if you did. Sorry, long-winded answer.
No, that was great. Thank you so much. Does anyone, who would like to go next?
Hi, Cheyenne. I have a quick question regarding, you know how you said you did the application, like you just went for it. Who helped you like edit your essays, or like help you with like secondaries or things like that?
Yeah, great question. So I took a different route through a company called Passport Admissions, which is local, and they provided all of that writing help, and I got a scholarship for them, but they're pretty expensive, but it was like phenomenal help, right? I needed it, and I needed that guidance because I knew I was so busy, and honestly, I really think without them, I probably wouldn't have got in either. But if you don't get these scholarships, you have to remember you're paying now, right? So my advice is to, on that student budget is, if that's something you can't afford, don't worry about it. utilize the writing center at UCSD as much as you can, and utilize people you know who may have gotten in to read over something, or physicians you have met, or find some, any mentors you have. Specifically, there's a program on campus called PUMA, which I'd like you all to look into, that caters to, they take a cohort every year and mentor you to get into med school. Oh, perfect. Thanks, Nkechi. So they'll give you that mentorship too. And I think also regarding MCAT and materials, which is a big expense, right? So that I had a lot of help from a different route, but I don't recommend that, especially because of how expensive that stuff can be. So
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
yeah, and just remember, I've worked my entire student career. I've worked like that 2 to 3 jobs. So I was able to save up a lot for this because I knew it was coming. But many people aren't in that scenario where they're working and balancing that. And I kind of wish I wasn't either. I wish I didn't have to work as like I did, but that's how I was able to afford it. So yeah.
I'm sorry, just one last question. So I currently got into my first lab this year, which is my last year at UCSD, and they're offering me the opportunity to do like the BSMS program, but it's not, it's like, it's the topic is reproductive medicine, but I'm more kind of like in your position where I like more like mentoring and like education and biology. So I was wondering if it would still be too late to like reach out and like, even though I'm doing like research now, to like start the BMS of like a new topic.
Yeah, I think that will probably be related to a lot of factors though that you'd have to weigh. And I can see now you've built this rapport with the lab you're in now. And if they're offering this, that's a pretty cool opportunity, you know, that they want to work with you for the next 1.5 to 2 years. But also you have to remember, like, I always think of it this way. If I go in an interview and someone asks me to answer the question, why am I doing what I'm doing? So why are you in that lab? Can I answer it in a way that shows that I care about it and can relate it to my future goal of being a physician? So for me, that was really easy with the lab I picked. It's what I wanted. But I think you can do it with a lot of things. But if you're truly passionate about mentoring, education, research, something like that, it's there. It's just waiting for someone to pick up the project, you know, it's there. And someone should take you if that's what you want to do. But again, that's a choice. That's a very personal choice between, do I want to stay in this like lab that is more clinical based stuff, or do I want to go into the more psychoanalytical area that looks at social dynamics? Both are hard, I just have to say. For mine, it's a lot of like reading. I'm not in a lab per se. I'm doing everything on my own laptop, but it's a lot of stuff, a lot of work. It's not easy for anyone.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And looks like we're just about out of time here. If anyone else has any last questions, that'd be great. Quick one.
Yeah, and I'm in no rush right now too, so if anyone has questions, I don't mind.
I actually do have some questions, but I didn't want to like hold anyone here.
Great.
So yeah, if you guys have other stuff to do, you know, for sure you can totally leave. I have like a few questions I'm interested in asking, but thank you so much, Cheyenne.
Yes, thank you so much, Cheyenne. Let me just share really quickly.
Also, I want to say PUMA is run by Naya Rodman, who was a CAP student like myself. And she's at a second year, I think, at UCSD School of Medicine now. And one of the class presidents, Haley, was a CAP student as well. So yeah, it's pretty incredible what you can do in this program.
And Naya is also part of the Anti-Racism Coalition as well at UCSD School of Medicine. So very cool. For those of you who are new members to TIS or even to this committee, if you guys want, we do have an Instagram, we have a Facebook. And if you wanted to sign up to become a new member, you can scan the QR code in black. And then if you're interested in more talks like this from other transfer alumni at UCSD or other transfer professionals, we'll have later on during the quarter, you can scan the green QR code and go to the committee interest form, and then make sure you hit GMT for this kind of talk. We also have a few other committees in TIS, and you can read about them on that form as well. And I will also drop the links for both of the forms there in the chat right now too. But thank you guys so much for coming. We really all appreciate it. You can go ahead and ask your questions. I'm going to drop the links now.
Okay. Feel free to end the recording here. So.